Hey, what is going on guys? Pagani Gaming here and back with another wheel-to-wheel video. It is now round 13. We are at Catalunya GP without the chicane, so we have a little bit of fun there and being able to really torture our tyres here in the Group 3 Lamborghini Huracan. And pace and tyre wear aside, the Lamborghini was really good. It was actually one of the quickest cars on outright pace around here, which is what we kind of expected, as we mentioned in the previous wheel-to-wheel video. But as we also did mention in that same wheel-to-wheel video, this is a very massive tyre race, and the Lamborghini does not like to keep its tyres in relatively good shape. So we're currently setting our first quali lap here, and this is for one of 3 races for this round. So this is one of the very few rounds where instead of just having 2 races, we have 3 races. And we're again here crossing the second sector. We're up on purple just by a little bit, not much, but enough to really set some alarms off. And again, the Lamborghini felt great around here. It had some really good pace. It didn't have top speed, but it had some really good cornering and braking abilities. Some pretty good acceleration. It felt, surprisingly for a Lamborghini, it felt really planted. Again, it was just that concern was the outright tyre wear. So we're here crossing the line now, and we do set a 140.856, and that was temporarily good enough for P1. We did get bumped down to P3. Had we pitted a lap earlier, we would have been good enough to pit to put in a 140.5 actually. So on to race 1. And this was apparently, it's supposed to be a sprint race, but we're looking after our tyres from lights out to the checkered flag, which I think is a big mistake in regards to that. I feel like if it's a sprint race, it should be hard out racing, nothing but 110% pure pace from every driver on the grid. But unfortunately, it wasn't just for us for the Lamborghini, it was everyone who was having to look after their tyres. For what is only a 7-lap race. So I feel like that's probably one of the things that the league should be looking at when it comes to these types of sprint races, and how they determine the tyre wear for each of those races, and kind of encourage a bit more harder racing for the opening race. And then obviously when it comes to the second race, the bigger race, you do have to be a little bit conservative on your tyre wear. But we've managed to hold P4 on the grid. We did have ZD, Packer, ZD, Baker Boy, and Baggins ahead. Baggins in the AMG was probably the car to have around here. A very, very good car around Catalunya. And this was relatively a pretty boring race. Not much happened here for race 1. We didn't feel under too much pressure from the drivers behind or from the drivers ahead. We knew we could probably pressure ZD and Baker a little bit into a possible move for P3, but we had Lucky behind us, who the only real advantage he had compared to the Lamborghini was the tyre wear. The Beetle is very good on his tyres. It's probably one of the best cars on his tyres, whilst the Lamborghini is probably the worst. And you'll see how much it is a tyre race later on in the video when it comes to race 3. But yeah, as I said, race 1 was pretty uneventful, nothing much happened, and from start to finish we pretty much secured P4, so it was a relatively good outcome in regards to that race there. On to hot lap for race 2, so we only had one chance to put in a quali lap, and we had a pretty shocker one. We definitely could have improved. We only got a 144.4. We were on the hard tyre. Having changed from the soft to the hard tyre really did throw us off there. And we did only qualify P9, but with the hard tyre, the Lambo does like to get off the line pretty well on the hard tyre. It doesn't bog down on the other 2 medium and the soft tyre compounds. The hard tyre is pretty well. We did get a bit of a bump from Palmer behind, who got bumped by his teammate Madridsky, and we had to play really aggressive here for race 2. We had to make up some lost ground that we did miss out on from the hot lap of race 2. So we already moved up 2 positions into P7. We're now up on the inside of Dodgy, who was P6, and we've now taken that position off him. And coming into turn number 4, ZD missing his braking marker ever so slightly, just gives Baggins a little bit of hip and shoulder. Everyone was really caught off guard by how cold these tires were. And speaking of off guard, we did get a really beautiful move there. Probably one of my best moves there, probably for the whole season. Really nice, unpredicted move. Even on my buff, I was not expecting that move to happen. But Baggins braked really early. I braked beautifully for what was cold, hard tires, and these tires were absolutely shocking for the first 3 laps. And then after the 3rd lap, the tires kind of woke up a little bit. And even still here, you know, we've got ZD braking a little bit early, just trying to trying to predict where to brake. And even again, lap 3, we're still braking relatively away from the apex, still trying to learn our braking marker. But we made a position on Troy there, you know, up into P4, and we ended up again, like race 1, finishing P4. So really good recovery drive there from P9 to make 5 positions up. On to race 3 and the final race, and the grid was set based off the results reversed from race 2. So we only qualified 4th from the back, and again, we're having to really play aggressive here. And this is one of the strong suits that I believe I have. We play really aggressive here. There are times that we do get it a little bit wrong, but when we get it right, we do make some serious ground here. So unfortunately there for Dodgy, he did get a bit of a hip and shoulder from Palmer. Unfortunately, it's not the last time we'll see Palmer get crossed up between one of the drivers, as we'll see later on in the video. So we're already up into P9, making some really aggressive moves here. We're now up into P8 in front of Packer, trying to really capitalize on a really tightly packed grid and just make as many positions as possible. Almost thought about making a move up on Lucky, but we didn't have enough speed to get out of the apex, and we have to drop back down into P7. So halfway through lap 1, everyone's still tussling for position. On to lap 3 now. Palmer does go a little bit wide out of turn 2, and me and Lucky have to take some evasive action. And unfortunately here for us, Palmer got a little bit distracted by ZD and completely missed his braking marker, even with the dirty tires, and just took us out. He has owned up to his mistake, and you know, credit where credit's due. If you can own up to your mistake, and you know, I won't be as disappointed or upset. But that really did put us on the back foot, all the way down into last position temporarily, and we got back in front of Palmer after that incident, and then made a quick pass on Dodgy. We did put up a pretty good fight, and the good thing about the incident was that the pack was still relatively bunched up. So again, there on lap 10, we made up, and that we made up 2 more positions on Ustrolic and MCDC, and then look, right up ahead of us, we've got the pack that we were just in 7 laps ago. But what that did happen, we did end up losing about 5 or so seconds, so we should have realistically been in front of Lucky and ZD here coming to the pits. And the strategy was to come in at the end of lap 10 and then change from the medium tyre to the soft tyre. And I've now looking back at that strategy, we probably could have done another lap on the medium just to avoid the soft tyres running out towards the end, and you'll see how much that really did affect us in the last lap. So we've come out here on the soft tyre, and we really have to preserve the tyre wear here. So we're lifting and coasting, we're downshifting at the latest possible second. We get a decent undercut here. We get in front of Baker Boy and just tuck in behind Midrisky there. So we're doing all right here. We're still relatively in contention here for a decent finish, having been bumped all the way back down to last place. We've got Baker Boy behind us on a slightly fresher soft tyre, Midrisky as well, and so as Troy. But ahead of them, we've got Lucky and ZD, who did get involved in a little bit of a tussle up. Lucky being really dirty, in my opinion, and just as you can see there, just completely takes ZD out in retaliation for what I think was realistically nothing. And that's not the only time Lucky has taken out a driver or attempted to take out a driver in retaliation for something that he thinks is worthy of a takeout, when realistically it actually isn't. So I do hope the stewards do take a firm look at that and maybe even dish out a race ban, because in my opinion, from someone who's currently leading the Div 2 championship, that's just completely unacceptable behaviour to take out a driver out of pure spite. But moving on, away from that disgusting incident, onto the final lap, and you can see how hindered we are with a dead tyre. We can't even keep the car in a straight line, and regardless of whether Baker hit me or not, I don't think he did. We're probably going to lose those positions regardless. And to add insult to injury, we have ZD as well, who gets us on the last corner, the cheeky bugger, and we lose ourselves 4 positions and go down quite significantly down the leader. So it was a pretty uneventful race for race 3, but on to Div 2 championships now, and the gap between myself and Lucky has grown ever so slightly by 20 points. But as I said before, I do believe the incident between Lucky and ZD is quite serious, and let's just say that a Cat 6 penalty might not do enough justice for what there is, because I think there's a bit more than the incident at hand, and maybe a bit of malice behind that incident and Lucky's actions there. Onto the team championships now, and unfortunately we were the lowest scoring team for round 14. But round 15 is Road Atlanta in the Group 4, and if you know about that track, it's a track that loves to chew on your front left tyre, so it's a track that might work for the Lamborghini in some regard, and hopefully it brings some exciting racing for that round. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new. With that being said, guys, I shall catch you in the next one.